I get approached quite often while carp fishing with a lot of questions, or when a friend or somebody sees a carp that I had caught and put it on social media. They usually figure it's by accident that I caught that fish, but there's actually a little bit of a science to it. So this video, I mainly want to show the very basics of getting started in carp fishing. I've been doing it, I don't know, 5-6 years now. It's evolved quite a bit since I started, but the basics haven't changed a whole lot. It's getting the bait out there with a hair rig, knowing which type of bait, which type of line to use, some other basic equipment, and a lot of patience. And that's basically all you're gonna need. Just like any other style of fishing, you know, you can put a lot of money into it, or you can keep it really basic. So I still tend to stay on the basic side. I don't like to dump a lot of money into this stuff, but over time you'll see what works best and what requires a little bit higher end equipment and what you can get away with. So hopefully in this video you'll have a little bit of an understanding how to get started, and the very basics of actually going out and targeting carp specifically. So I'm going to go over some of the supplies you'll probably need if you wanted to start carp fishing, at least the American Euro style, if you will. So the first thing are definitely hair rigs. You can tie these yourself. They're pretty easy to tie. A lot of YouTube demos out there. I'm not the best tier, so I wouldn't go by what I do, but they work. Pretty simple. Got a whole box of them over there. You can buy pre-tied hair rigs like this. Some of them are pretty good. Some you got to be careful, especially the barrel swivels that they come with. A lot of times those barrel swivels are really chintzy, and if you get a big carp on, there's a good chance it's gonna break off, or they may rust and break over time. So if you do get some of these pre-tied, make sure your barrel swivel is good, even if it means cutting it off and either tying a new one on or just tying a loop like I do, and on my hair rig, and feed it through the actual barrel swivel at the end of the line. Get a scale. Most important thing with a scale is you do not want to weigh the carp by the gills. You see that a lot with bass and other species where they'll use this hook and go right in the gills. Just you'll injure the fish pretty severely by doing that. What we use is a weigh sling like this. Get it wet with a water bucket of some sort. Hook the scale on these and lift the fish with this, preferably off a landing mat. And that's another thing I would highly recommend getting. You do not want to put the carp on the gravel or grass, and especially some of this hard surface. They're going to thrash around quite a bit. Good chance they're going to get injured, possibly injure you. So get a good landing mat. They're not much online, either at a carp store or wherever you can find them. I believe Amazon probably has them too. But say a water bucket. Make sure this, when you put a fish on the mat, it's wetted down, as well as your weigh sling. You don't want to break any scales or anything like that. So next thing I would get are baiting needles. You'll see in the baiting demonstration you'll definitely need a baiting needle. While it is possible to bend a normal hook and get away with something like that, that's how I started out. I just bent a normal hook. It does work, but you'll find these are a lot nicer, especially the ones with with a little gate on the front, which helps hold the line in place and keep your bait from getting too big of a hole punched in and possibly breaking up, especially if you're baiting with corn. Next is some sort of stopper for your hair rig. This goes in the loop just to keep your bait from falling off the actual hair rig. You can buy these wherever. They all just pop out of here. This style is probably my favorite. Seems to keep the bait on the best. Works really well. You can use just the normal pieces of plastic like this sometimes, or just normal little dumbbell types, but I recommend these. They seem to work pretty well. Probably get a little box for all your hair rigs. Becomes, on the off season, kind of a hobby. Try to tie some up, do some different variations. The next is obviously you're going to need some bait. I like to use a lot of corn or tiger nuts a lot of times. It's a real good bait. A little bit of flavoring never hurts. This is just sweet corn. It's been flavored. This one's pineapple. There's also, some people prefer, in my bag here, called boilies, which are extremely popular. Something like that. It's just basically a manufactured ball with flavor. Some of them, most of them float. Some are a bottom bait that sit on the bottom. Wide variety. You can get pretty much any kind of flavor you can think of. If not, you can make your own. Something else that is pretty critical are your leads. Come in a lot of variety. I generally go with this style here. I run either 2 to 3 ounces in general, depending on the current. You could also buy bait holder types, just simple other varieties. With this style of rig, you have your main line, goes to your lead, to a barrel swivel, to your hair rig. With the lead, they have most of them have a stem inside, and the barrel swivel will kind of stick in there. But if a fish does get hung up, it can pop off pretty easy, and the fish can free the lead that way, and it's not stuck dragging a lead around or getting tangled up. So that's the most common style. Make sure your barrel swivel fits into your lead stem, not too tight, but maybe just tight enough where it stays there. And that's your basic setup. Going to try to demonstrate how to set up a hair rig with mainly corn as your bait. It's your standard hair rig. Baiting needle. It's got a little tiny hook on the end there. What I do a lot of times is I like to start out with a baked piece of corn just to help keep the bait on a little longer, take some of the damage. If there's turtle bites or anything like that, just basically just feed your corn. This corn has been boiled, a little bit flavored with whatever you like, and you got your little, got a loop on the hair rig. Stick your hook from the baiting needle onto that and simply slide the bait down onto the hair itself. At that point, you want to grab a bait stop, stick that through the loop, like so. I like to slide up the fake corn, anchor that on first, and slide the other bait up. That is basically it. You got your hair rig with your hook bait as corn. And about 80% of the time, this is all I use. Keep it simple. Make sure, once again, this corn is boiled. Helps quite a bit, makes it soft. If it wasn't boiled, you're gonna have a hard time getting this through the corn without it cracking, as well as it adds a little more flavor to your corn once you soften it up. And the fish tend to like it a little better anyway. So this guy's pretty much ready to go. As far as the bait goes, I'm gonna now put the pack bait on here onto the lead, which is in here. All I really do is, once again, this is just oats, panko breadcrumb, cream corn. I use a little bit of oil to keep it from sticking to my hands, and a little bit of flavoring, whatever you like. Once again, pack that into a ball around the lead like that. Another thing I like to do, and other people do, will loop this around, hook it to your pack ball to keep it out of the way from getting tangled. What I generally do is just kind of put a loop in my hook link there, pack a little more bait around that. And that keeps it nice and clean. Less likely for that hair link to get looped around and get tangled with your main line or anything like that. So that essentially is it. We're going to cast this out. Make sure this is packed well enough it doesn't break apart during the cast. Sometimes it takes a little trial and error, how much panko to oats to cream corn, but over time you'll figure out your own recipe and what works for you. So I'm gonna get this guy out real quick and hope for a bite. This rig I have baited up with they're called chufa seeds, better known as tiger nuts. They tend to stay on your hair quite a while. Pretty much turtle proof, as well as bluegill or whatever else wants to sometimes pick apart your sweet corn. So usually have pretty good luck using these tiger nuts. This one just has I think it's a banana flavor, but same basic process. You just thread your baiting needle through them, hook them on, slide them down. There's a bait stopper in there, and throw the pack ball on and get it out there. Quick overview of everything. Here's some bait, mostly corn, tiger nuts. Once in a while, we'll get into using some boilies or something, some pre-made baits. Not necessary. You can make your own if you like using that style. Pack bait, learn to make your own pack bait. Panko breadcrumb, oats, cream corn, a little bit of oil. That is about it. Get a baiting needle for your hair rigs. Leads, all different types of leads you can use, different types of hair rigs you can make. You can buy them pre-tied or tie your own. Get a water bucket, a landing mat, a weigh sling, rods and reels, and a good net is very, very important. I tried to get away with a little cheapy Amazon net when I started, and that did not work. That was something I discovered pretty early on, that I would have to buy something that will make it a lot easier to catch some of these, or land some of these big carp, as well as something that keeps the fish safe while landing it. You can use most nets, but smaller holes, either rubber coated, large hoop. This is an actual carp net. These are actually really cheap. I think I paid 35 bucks for this net. But definitely put a little bit of money into your net and get something that's safe. Usually your pike nets and things like that will work, but just stay away from the nylon netting. It's not easy to land these fish. They put up a huge fight. Definitely helps if you got two of you, but a lot of times I'm out here by myself and need a good lengthy handle to get these fish in. I find just laying the net out and trying to bring the fish to the net instead of scooping the fish up works a lot better. So yeah, we're still waiting on a first bite here. Waiting for that sun to get over here, maybe warm up this side of the lake. As far as rods and reels, this happens to be a dedicated carp rod and reel. If you're just starting out, trying to figure out if you like carp fishing or not, you can get away with using, say, your bass rod or something, but definitely up the line to at least, I don't know, 15-pound braid or something is usually can do the trick. I go a little heavy. I go about 35. Fishing a lot of snaggy spots, so I like to have that line that can hold up. So as far as reels, this is called a bait runner. Basically has a drag in the front and the back. Line goes out on the back drag, which is I set pretty loose compared to the front. As soon as you start cranking, the back drag will engage and go to the front. So you definitely don't need that style of reel. It's kind of nice when you have the rod sitting out like this. You don't have to remember to keep fidgeting with your front drag. So, but whatever reel will work. Get yourself some sort of bait sticks, or bank sticks, I'm sorry, to keep your rod and reel out of the dirt. These have alarms. That's something not necessary, but if you have a hard time paying attention to your rods, or maybe set up a little further away from where you're fishing, you may want to use some sort of device to let you know when you have a run. So all these do, line gets pulled, buzzer goes off, light comes on, lets me know that line's getting pulled in. Not necessary, but just an added bonus. Just landed this 33.5 pounder. Not sure if it was the same one as yesterday. It's got a weird abnormality by its eye, but it's within half a pound of the other one. Could be something I didn't notice. I'll have to go back and check. But yeah, beast of a fish. Huge.